Tesla earnings recap. So everybody was here live yesterday. Thank you for being a part of that. We had like almost 1,500 people.
Over 1,500 people hanging out live. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was super awesome. I'm going to let you take that away. Comments on that.
Yeah. So yesterday, if you guys didn't hang out here, if you guys, or if you guys, live under a rock, wasn't hanging out in the stock market, estimated earnings per share on Tesla yesterday were 56 cents. They came in at 76 cents and absolutely crushed earnings. The price targets were raised all over the place, and the conference call was actually really interesting as well. We always talk about how Tesla is a tech company, and that's kind of our mantra, so to speak, but that's actually not Elon's. Elon was talking in the conference last night about how they're more people don't actually realize they're more of just a multitude of startups, where you have the automotive side, you have energy side, and he even talked about getting into HVAC. And I think the highlight of that, as far as his quote unquote startups within the Tesla company, is insurance. And I talked about this morning within our mentorship folks, that the insurance side is very interesting, because when you try, and I was actually looking to buy a Tesla, and one of the big turnoffs for me, at least for now, was the insurance cost. Like, the insurance is ridiculously expensive on Teslas if you go on to the retail route. Like if it was Geico or Allstate or whatever, State Farm, what have you, it is ridiculously expensive. But Tesla has their own insurance companies that actually brings the premiums down some. And so I think that if you look to that in the potential growth that Tesla has, which already saw that we could potentially see 1 million vehicle sales in Tesla in 2021, which would be absolutely incredible. And I think they do probably end up getting to that number. The insurance side of things is also going to grow with that. And the margins on the insurance side is absolutely insane as far as profits concerned. So all systems go. This is why analysts were upgrading this. And I don't think the price today reflects a lot of what we learned about Tesla moving forward and the growth that they're going to be having going into 2021. But I am, for one, am super excited about Tesla right now.
Yeah, I really enjoyed digging through the earnings, and have a little bit of an announcement. Everybody's been asking about where to find me. I had low-key channel. I am doing a Fat Man Zoom channel for specific content that maybe doesn't make sense here, but we want to give to you guys. So I'm doing a deep dive into the earnings, and that video is going to be released tonight. So I'll have you put in the description, Brad.
Yeah.
But I'll give you a little taste of it. And let's start with the insurance, because that is also what I was most excited about. Elon does such a good job of giving us good information.
Yeah.
And I feel like the mainstream doesn't pass along that information to you all. But you know who does? Fat Man Zoom and Only Chaos does.
That's right.
Here's what he said. There was this common theme of affordability, and not making the product cheap, but making the product where it can reach everybody and creating value in that way. So he acknowledged that insurance is expensive. And so what he said was, if we can do this in-house, insurance could be, will cost less and also be better. So they'll provide more value. And what he alluded to was like, the car is so smart, will become so smart, that it could look at your habits, your driving habits, and they can assess risk based on your driving habits,
right,
and give you insurance reflective of that. And so that's awesome. Now, here is a key statistic that you will not hear. He said that insurance could be 30 to 40% of what their car business could be from a revenue perspective, which is insane.
That's unbelievable.
And in addition to that, it could be more profitable. It could mean more to the business because the margins are going to be incredible for insurance,
yeah,
as opposed to a physical car. And so that's insane when you're thinking about the future growth prospects of the company. That is one of many, many things that I'll get into with my video where I'm really discussing that. But like, my God, that's incredible for them.
It really is. And I know that we have a lot of people that are just quote unquote fanboys. And I guess we're becoming that, especially with like Rocket and Tesla and stuff like that. But the things that we're bringing to the table are absolutely true. And I just want to reiterate that we do bring about risk on some of this stuff as well. But I don't know what downside there really is to Tesla right now. I just don't see it. And the more I keep accumulating shares, the less inclined I am to actually sell them. I keep telling myself, well, I'll trim it when it gets up here, or I'll trim it when it gets up there. And I just can't bring myself to do it, because every time I do, there's just something else that I'm seeing that's like, well, wait a minute, this story is still well beyond being written. And we talked about this yesterday, that as much as Tesla's moved in the last 12 months, it's still very much a growth stock. And I can't imagine myself selling any of it for the foreseeable future. I just don't know why I would. I mean, it's just going to continue to go up from here, and I'm just super excited for the future on this thing, especially at 2021. I think that's going to be good. They already talked about Cybertrucks potentially being delivered as well, and kind of gave some digs towards the Hummer in there too, talking about some of the performance metrics on the Cybertruck as well. I think there's a lot more people that will be attracted to the Cybertruck. First of all, the Cybertruck is half the price of what the H2 or not the H2, the Hummer truck will be. The Hummer truck is $113,000 at the highest trim level, and even at the lowest trim level, it was $80,000. The highest trim level for the Cybertruck was, I believe, $80,000. So it met the lowest of the Hummer, and the metrics and the range and all that good stuff actually blow the Hummers away. So the technology is still very much there for Tesla. They still have the upper hand, and I don't think that they're going to sell that many Hummers. I really don't. I just think that Tesla's still number one, and I don't see how anybody's going to really overtake them at all. I really just don't see that. I don't see a scenario where that happens.
And Steve had said, he kind of echoed your sentiments, Tesla's going to be a monster in 1 to 2 years. Yeah, for sure. And 5, 10, 20 years. Like,
yeah,
I mean, this thing can go forever.
Right.
So you're right. I don't think the issue would be competition. I think the issue is themselves.
Yeah.
The only way this thing doesn't happen, the only way this thing really gets impacted is if they get in their way. So if there's a snag in production, right? They're rethinking battery technology, and you talked about battery technology and how they're rethinking it and building it from scratch.
Right.
And this is what's wild about Tesla is they're building the machines and the equipment that build the machines and the equipment, right? Like, that's how freaking smart they are.
Yeah. And
so if there's a snag in that, if there's a recall, like the only thing that's going to get in the way of Tesla is Tesla.
Yep.
And so if you hear about regulatory issues, if you hear about recall issues, production issues, delivery issues, and those can all be resolved. Those are the only temporary issues they will have. And also just setting the bar so high that they've just got to keep beating that. So and those are not material. So, or the last one wasn't material. So yeah, I mean, there's this huge opportunity with this company, and Elon's cracked the code as far as what it is to be a CEO.
Yeah.
I think Tim Cook kind of moved the needle a little bit. I think, his name is Jensen Huang, NVIDIA CEO,
yeah,
moved the needle as well. But Elon Musk is taking it to another level. And if you really listen to these earnings calls, he doesn't do the business speak. Like,
right.
You feel like he's super smart, but you feel like he's not giving you the business speak. And I think that's why he frustrates the board. But as a regular person, I think you can't discount what he's doing, because he's not trying to BS you. He's telling you how it is. He's giving you sort of the outlook, and you feel like he's one of you. And I don't think you can. I don't think there's enough focus put on that, because that's why he has a cult, is because you feel like, hey man, I got somebody in corporate that's riding for me.
Right. And he's also been pretty vocal about how he feels about us retail investors as opposed to the institutions and that sort of thing. And I think that's probably why the majority of shareholders are retail investors. And yeah, we've seen some volatility as far as that's concerned, because retail investors are a little bit more emotional than the institutions are. But I think that there's definitely something to be said for that. Also, we haven't talked about that with the increase of these margins and and really impacting their bottom line, S&P 500 is still very much on the table. So some of the things that the S&P 500 were looking to see in order to include them in the index, they've kind of cleaned up a little bit. So that catalyst is still very much on the table. So, I mean, I think that could still very much happen. By the end of the year, I'm still a little bit on the fence about, but definitely 2021, I could see that being a very huge possibility. But this earnings call definitely cleaned a lot of things up that I think that would make it look a lot more attractive to the board and S&P, and the inclusion is very much on the table for Tesla.